Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. This is Phil. I'm doing a quick poem in this segment, and I took down last week's video because of the sound on it not being clear, and it was pretty loud behind me with some of the heater going on in the apartment, and just the actual acoustics of everything sounded horrible. So I'm going to do a shorter poem this time, and I do hope to publish that poem, "Sweet Demon Eyes," at one time with the disappeared. And to me, it's one of my best um, poems I have done. I think it's some of my best work so far in general. I like the long game. I make no bones about it. And I really practice at short stories, doing short ones within a couple pages, doing longer ones, 150 pages, which some people might consider a novel at that point. But the compilation, I just keep on adding to, and I'm trying to do my best work as I study also some things in the poetry field, like rhyme and meter, stanza. I know I like going direct stanza or direct line all the way down. I'm not sure if there's a word for that, but there's like no stanza where it looks like paragraph form and everything rhymes in there. And then you go down to the next one, and then you go down to the next one. Some poems are short, like three stanzas. Okay, they're, unless haiku, they're usually not just three, four, five sentences. Okay, so you have a lot of leeway as an author in being that artist with those words and being a wordsmith, where you can bring someone in to read and they are visualizing what you were thinking. And is it going to be pleasurable? Is it going to be painful? Is it going to be something that everybody can have a common uh, agreement with? Is it something that everybody would say, okay, I know that feeling. Yeah, I know. I've been there. I've done that. And this was a better way of presenting that in our artistry, in our inspiration, and what we try to portray with just words. And I was speaking in some videos about how everything is online. Everybody wants to be visually stimulated. If it's not pornography, it's memes. It's not memes, it's short, those video shorts. They call them shorts or shorties, all over Facebook, also on YouTube now. At one time, YouTube didn't have those shorties. Okay, those short videos showing something. I love seeing guns. So those shorties, I like seeing when someone pulls out a different gun I haven't seen, and they just go to town and they're shooting it down range, being safe and everything, but it's just a person discharging a gun down range. And it's like, okay, I like that, but I can also sit down and read a paperback. I can also sit down and read an old 1966 dictionary I swear by. I can sit down and read the Bible, and I swear to my children, they're going to read and read and read. They need to stay off the phones, they need to stay off the computers, and they have to stop looking at everything through the prism of AI and digital, I want to say digital screens in general. Because it is an addiction. It can burn you out, especially when you're even more tired after working and what have you. And I'm no different. I'm no saint. But when I'm tired, I'll go to sleep, and I won't be on trying to make videos for my own ego forever. Okay. A lot of this is publicity and advertising for the disappeared. And if someone wants to look at this video, fine. Okay. Contact me. And if you want to see all my work and you want to buy it, I'll send it to you and I'll give you first dibs to make an offer. 500 plus pages of short stories, poetry, and it's not bad. It's all on my Android. I was not made of money to keep on buying computer systems and upgrading while I'm putting all this stuff together, assembling it. So I know how to do the PDFs. I keep on adding on to the disappeared compilation. And I also wanted to stress something too. The disappeared is the anchor story of the disappeared compilation. It's 150 pages, but the whole compilation is over probably 550 pages now. To be honest, with the addition of real poetry, not just doodling and doing 4 or 5 sentences when I give somebody an answer in a post, kind of sarcastic like that. But, anyways, I do have a sense of humor. I do like more humorous things instead of just death or just a ghost story. And, so, there's some kind of moral story to it, there's some kind of revenge. There's some kind of trippy ending where everything is made right. And, the reader gets to know everything was corrected for, you're sitting there with all these unanswered things all over the book. And then it's at the end, it culminates into a perfect conclusion. But it's a little more serious. It's a little more trippy. It's a little more mind boggling. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I love that. That's why I write, because I want to do psychological thrillers based on my inspiration. And I've said it before, I'm a critic of some writers. They're great writers in general, but the content sucks. Okay, I'll say that to my dying day about Stephen King. Great author. I mean, he was an English professor, for Christ's sake, before or as he was writing Carrie. Okay, and that's part of the problem too, because he wrote Carrie and he threw it in the trash can, and it's fabled, and the story is known by a lot of horror authors. And his wife pulled it out of the trash can. God bless her. Said, no, you got to give Carrie more of a female teenage girl feel. And so he rewrote a lot of Carrie, and it was great. And he took the manuscript and hand carried it to Manhattan. If I do that right now, today, in this day and age, in Manhattan, walk it up to editor and the publisher himself or herself, and I say, here, I'm giving this to you. I want you to look at it, and I want to make you some money. Read this with some buffering around the edges, some buffing. Maybe you don't like one thing. You want me to see if I can arrange it in a certain way. But everything else looks pristine. It looks like great work by a normal, everyday Joe. If I could do that, I would. I'd be arrested because they don't want to be bothered. They're elitists. Okay? And that's the seedier side. They pick and choose who they're going to help, along with the foundations and the funding from angel funders. Okay? There's thousands of the sites right now online where you go there and you see the whatchamacallit foundation and the Hoodow, symposium that sponsors a reading every year, every annual get together of a bunch of writers. You pay them $300, you could show up, and they have professional readers, and everybody shows up. But the content is only ethnic, numerical minorities. Why is that? Because the elitists want to keep real talent out, and not saying that those people can't have talent, but they want to give the impression that they're within the elitist marks cabals of entertainment, and they pick and choose who can come in. It's usually not when you're funding an author for their project. It is usually not that younger or older white male that has not been published or paid by a regular publisher. And I'm not talking vanities. I've been published twice with Author House in the vanities. But I want to hold on to my Disappeared, even if I die before it gets published, and I get paid for it. Because I refuse to bow to elitists who tell me I'm not good enough. Okay, then I'll wait until the next elitist comes, and the next elitist, and the next elitist. The next person with bankroll that can take 10 minutes and look at one of my short stories inside of The Disappeared, especially The Disappeared novella itself. And so it's like, wow, okay, this is a serious game, because these people don't give a shit about authors. They want to make money, and they want to pretend like they're elite. They want to pretend like they're high-class artists, like a Da Vinci, but being wordsmiths, okay, being theologians writing the Bible, okay, encyclopedia authors, Okay, Oxford Dictionary collegiate scholars over in England. And you look over there too, same thing. They keep on hiring more and more people that don't care about the Western life, don't care about your family. They don't care about your entertainment. They don't care about your higher learning. They care about dumbing you down to control you. That's not art. That's not art. If I had an agent, I'm going to tell him or her the same thing. Show me the fucking money before I pay you any fucking money. I'm the talent, you are not. Those elitists up there at Oxford who are scholarly and they make up all the rules of the English language we're supposed to adhere to every year because they want to appease a bunch of minorities that don't belong in our Western hemisphere. Anyways, they don't care about our Western way of life. They don't care about our freedom, our Constitution, our God, our people, and especially the color of our skin. Tell me I'm wrong. I love black people. I love American black people. Okay? My godparents are black people. I don't virtue signal them, and I respect Martin Luther King and what he taught me growing up. Not these elitists telling me what is good, what is bad, and I can't get paid and earn a paycheck because they choose race over quality. That's the problem in America right now. They choose Marxism over quality. And it's a reason to try to control people and make them poorer and buy fiat, rely on a big fat government that wants to keep on controlling, keep on getting bigger, and telling them what job they're going to have, how they can heat up their house, how they can raise their children, how they can drive to work, the type of job they have, and now what they can put in their body for medicinal purposes and eat. I am not the racist. If you are an ethnic numerical minority in America and you want to write an author, more power to you. But I would seriously look at the people that may fund you in the future if you have a racialized work that you are promoting. Okay, you survived poverty in Africa. That's wonderful. That's beautiful. And that is a good story. Okay. Now, is that art or is that just an autobiography? Is that narcissism? Ask yourself that. Are you okay with that white man's money, but you're also okay with making sure that other white people don't get the same opportunity as you do when you're only 13% of the population? Ask yourself that. The elitists want us fighting at each other anyways, and I am not going to go down that road. However, I will voice my opinion about it when the talent is here and I'm the product. So, that being said, I do have a little bit of a humorous side to me. And so I was thinking of when we were children, the two-headed purple people eater. And I was thinking that song and that jingle from that song, the purple people eater. And I remember in the early 1970s when I was like a little kid, I was like, wow, that sounded like from the 50s. It sounded so foreign because it was before I was born. And so I was like, okay, I know that. Everybody knows that song. Okay, it was redone twice, actually. Once in 1958 by Woolley, I believe his name is. And another group redid it related to Woolley, I believe his name is, in the mid 1960s. I want to say 1965, but I might be mistaken. In any event, I was born in 1968. In the early 70s, with us children, it was still something we could play on an old phonograph. And it was, everything us kids loved. So I wanted to do something like Spoofy. I wanted to do something like that without sounding like a song, but sounding like a little dirty kid. Sounded like a kid that is just like, oh, okay, he has this imaginary friend that comes and visits him sometimes when he's still awake and he's looking at the lights from the outside on the street going through his window, hitting the top of the ceiling. And he's just imagining, oh, the boogeyman. Oh, a scary monster under my bed. Oh, an alien sitting on the windowsill. Oh, werewolves in my closet. What am I going to do? And then I see these shadows being transmitted through the window onto the wall. And so I just had this crazy picture in my head. I was like, yeah, I got to do that. I got to do it. So without further ado, here is the two-headed purple people eater. Going to bed late at night, the shadows of lights, creeping and crawling on my wall, on my bedroom wall, and hides in the twilight. Sometimes he's small, where he may jump or leap. Sometimes a different hue, and he bickers and grins as he snickers and sins. My covers eschew the grime and stickers, laden slime with prickers, and eats what he reaps as I toss and turn, avoiding his grip, as he slobbers and clobbers and tries to rip the covers from me with friction and diction, as I swear and I tear, and still cannot see, and I sweat as I spit, and bumble as I burn. Then, to my surprise, as I open my mouth, trying to get out, and as much as I pout and open my eyes to the bugs and the flies, seeing the being, his greasy purple skin, a slithering tongue, bad breath, with all his moaning and groaning, and all that he sighs, ooh, it so valiantly says, and tries to infer, by wafting his face, with his nose in his spurs, and all of his days in carnivorous ways. Oh, my lord, stinky armpits, and bad deodorant sprays, covering my head and burrowing down my hairy mug with a burly frown. There I laugh and I cackle as I wrestle and tackle my only best friend forever in my cesspool bed. It then growls and it purrs as I howl and it burrs, and I cow and it whirs, and as I gouge it occurs. How I love my two-headed blob, though sometimes an excreting slob. My purple mate, even when late, and even in hate, on such moonlit dates, with scrapes and the wait, to finally sleep, and not be his last meal, while it snores and it squeaks, or as it squeals. How I love my two-headed creep, and all his stanchion styes, from the primordial ooze. Wow, boy, how I create, but get back in your crate. My imaginary and hairy, he a bit scary, best friend forever, eternally, my two-headed purple, and maybe rouge, people eater muse. So, I just love writing that, and it was that was my response into that two-headed purple people eater. However, it went back then, and it's reimagined. I mean, no offense, and I did not copy anything from that song. It was inspired by that song, and I did not copy anything from that song in particular. And that was just from a little bit of humor I have for thinking of something and how serious, authors try to take themselves in this field. And you go to a writers group in Facebook, and they're like, you can't say that, ban you. Okay. Or some guys will chime in on a comment and say something derogatory, and you don't know what it's referring to in your post. And then when you ask them to elaborate, they cuss you out. They try to intimidate you with offhanded threats. And it's like, oh, okay, I'm not published. Right. Okay. I don't know how this system works. Right. Oh, okay. Well, I'm trying to be polite here. Okay. Can you tell me A, B, and C? Um, and what is it you're actually, trying to prove? Insulting me, trying to run me off the forum, and then I try to post one of these videos from YouTube on to those same groups, all up and down my list of groups. Some of them are not writers and authors and the English language and what have you, and I'm banned. 15-day penalty, banned from posting anything on the groups because the administrators, acting like gatekeepers, because they may have published one book, thinking that they know everything in and out. I'm like, take a chill pill, guy. I don't care about Facebook. I don't care about being popular. What I care about is providing entertainment in book form, being an author and letting people enjoy a different way of looking at ghosts and ghost novels and horror. I don't want to be gore. I don't want to be preachy. I don't want to be too moral espousing. But I do want to have some morals when I do a plot, because that's the psychology of being human and authoring. Your inspiration, what you see in your mind, and you see interpersonal relationships, how they occur on a daily basis, and you're inspired by that. And then you add in some of that interchange in your book as you're authoring, and some of that inspiration and how those good feelings could be portrayed and expounded upon, and you're sharing it. You're just sharing it. And people want to read that. People want to enjoy something interesting. I'm not into the blood, sex, bore, and gore. Okay. I'm not into any of those. No blood. I want to minimize that. No sex. I want to be realistic about it, but not gratuitous. And gore. I don't want people slaughtered in mass like you see on Netflix in their slasher series. They're very interesting. Don't get me wrong, but that's a different medium. I want to do great, perfect ghost novels that will last 200 years, like Poe's great work. I was raised with Poe. I was raised on Poe. I read a lot of Poe, and then when I came back to trying to be an author, a prolific author, studying 20 years after college, I want to be like Poe. I want to be as brilliant as he was. He was multilingual by the time he was, what, 10 years old? You know, he was visiting France, and he learned 3 languages. So he should have been paid and treated a lot better in his lifetime. And I don't want to be mistreated. I want to see the fruits of my work and my hard studies and everything I've known since, grade school, working on the English language. I also studied Spanish when I was younger. Didn't do well at it, didn't write it well, but I understand it. And I can visualize the concepts and put it down on paper if I have to. What's my next language right now to conquer while I'm studying now is actual Latin, so I can speak it fluently. Okay, Dominus Vobiscum. Okay, the Lord be with you. Dio Volante is basically Dio Volante. The Lord be with you if the Lord is willing. Okay, and I want to study and keep on adding to the art to bring more people in and enjoy. That's the whole idea of authoring, entertainment. It's just a different medium. And I want to bring it back away from the AI, away from the digital addictions, away from the porn addictions, away from the slaughter addictions of watching Netflix. And everything watching online is trash. They're losing the art. Don't get me wrong, some of those shows and series are fascinating because they have plot twists upon plot twists. That I like. And I don't scare easy with movies or anything like that. They're a joke. But to have bloodshed for the sake of bloodshed, that's what I'm not going to consider art anymore. The book is what the art is. And that's what we need to get back to in the next 100 years. Or humanity's doomed because it's an addiction. And they knew this long ago. The online presence are going to keep people there and addicted and fry their brains so they can control them easier and try that AI interface, facade, and fraud oh, just hook you up to here. It's basically killing you. And your neurons are going to be your vision, and you're going to see everything. And they're going to show you something that's fake, and they're going to have a computer kill you. That's all it is. Euthanasia. And people are going to say, oh, I love it. It's so fascinating. Hooked up to whatever those monitors are that Zuckerberg talked about. It's like, no, thank you. I want to write books that matter, that you can put on your shelf in 300 years from now. You can read it, see how we wrote back here in this time, see the skill we had, and we cared about the old language, the old English back 100 and 200 years ago also. So we incorporated some of those words, some of those dictions, and gave people the idea of expanding their minds and knowing what the English language is there for. And all those pictures come just because of diction. A paperback, a horror novel, a ghost novel, a crime novel. Anyways, thank you guys, and I appreciate it. Please enjoy your weekend and be safe out there. Take care.